record on this computer? And we're recording. So welcome to class, everybody. And so again, I'm not going to require everyone to put on their camera, but I am asking that everybody answer my questions. Okay, so here is the form. Click the link and fill it out. It's going to have a few questions. The first is, what is an unexpected joy you have found during this crisis? Mine has been the discovery of Seamless. I did not realize Seamless worked as it did, and it's been mildly addictive, I have to say, but I'm really enjoying just typing stuff in and food arriving. I've also started a new book called Dune that I'm really enjoying. And so I wanted to have an opportunity for us to all share maybe something good that has come from the whole COVID-19. Then on a scale of 0 to 6, how confident are you that you understand and can build your own action bar? A scale of 0 to 6, how confident are you that you understand and can build your own recycler view? If this is low, that's absolutely okay. I just want to get a feel for where you are. Where are you? As in, like, physically, are you in New York City still? Did you have to go to China, or are you somewhere else? And then please just type in your name here for attendance purposes. This is for people who are also watching the recording, just so I can keep track of who's coming to class, whether you're here synchronously or asynchronously. All right, and so that is that. And so I'm gonna give you a moment to fill that out. And then once you have, we'll continue with lecture. So I'm going to pause the recording for now. Okay, so we're back, class, and so I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to come on over here. Let's move this menu bar. And we're gonna look at week 8's survey. So it looks like most people didn't have to move, at least not last week, but some people did, so we wanna keep that in mind. And I'm gonna be trying to accommodate accordingly. Thank you for being honest. I also think this class has become more difficult since going online, but we're going to do our best. Any awesome learning experiences? The first one with the sharing the GitHub links, I'm not quite comfortable with that because I just want to make sure everyone is working on their own code, but I will start uploading the answers to the take-home lessons and the in-class assignments via GitHub, and I've done so with the recycler view. So I will give you guys that so you guys have source code. I'm going to be working on making these videos as instructional as possible. And thank you to whoever said this. Yeah, I think it's still cool too, but I prefer in person as well. And in terms of the snacks, I don't know what snack this is, but cool. Protein bars, someone's super healthy. Okay. Doritos and ice cream. Yes, yes, yes. I love Thin Mints as well. I had a slice of cheesecake too. I would love some good milk tea, but I don't know where to find any here in the Bronx. So I'm gonna keep that on my mind. But I appreciate the cashew and the rice cracker and the protein bar. Some of you are like staying healthy. I appreciate you guys.
What is the second one? Someone who can translate for us.
It's kind of a spicy food. Yeah, spicy noodle kind of thing.
Oh, spicy bean curd. Okay, very
that sounds
cool.
good.
But it's not actually not noodle, but a really elastic one. Yeah, like it's a little bit like a rubber. The texture a little bit like rubber, but
like rubber.
made from flowers.
Well,
like,
as long as you enjoy it. All right, well, let's continue because I want to make sure we have time to work on our projects today in class. Thank you, everybody, for filling out that. I'm going to here. So yes, my next slide was that because of the stress of COVID-19, I'm relaxing a number of the deadlines and I'm gonna grant extensions. I know I got a bunch of emails that I haven't had the chance to get back to just yet. And so I'm just gonna say that, like, assume that the extension you're asking for, you have gotten, and just get the work in when you can. When I have, right now, I'm saying within the next like week or two, just to turn things in, but everything is a lot more relaxed right now because we're in the middle of a crisis. So don't stress about deadlines. Just make sure you can get it in when you can. Today's agenda, originally we were gonna review menu and recycler view and then work on our projects for 50 minutes and then go over the Firebase. But I think what I'm gonna do instead is I'm going to review menu view, recycler view. I'm gonna walk through the Firebase code so that we have the video for it, so you have it. And then I'm gonna meet with your groups individually to just make sure we're all on track to keep working on our projects. And then you can either continue to work together right now, or you can just leave early and then work together on your own time. Okay. If anyone highly disagrees with that, please just chat me. Go, Nigel, no, I would much prefer to start with project work just so I can get a feel for that. But I'm gonna assume if I don't hear anything like that, everyone is okay with the altered schedule. Okay. So we're viewing the action bar and the recycler view. Questions about Take Home 7. So I know it was really confusing. And so Take Home 7 had the action bar that led to the recycler view. And so what I've done here is I've left a link with the GitHub code, everything that you need. Let me slow down so that you can hear me. Oh, I see a picture. Okay, I'll flip that later. But yes, and so essentially you can just clone or download this. I usually just download the zip and then open it up. And so that is the code for those of you who are still confused, because it is a confusing topic. Okay, let's review it though. And we'll just review this with keeping in mind that you have the code available to you. So for creating the action bar, right, we have our steps here where we create the resource directory menu called menu, right? We've talked about the steps of doing that. After we create our menu directory, we create the menu resource file, right? Must end in .xml. Then we add our menu items in the XML code for the menu resource file. And then we import the XML file into Java using the onCreateOptions menu method. After that, we want to handle our click events. And there's two ways to do that, right? We have the onOptions item selected, and we have onClick. So those are the 6 steps, so to speak, of how to create an action bar. And so here we're just reviewing, here's some of the code for one, where the menu should be, right? It's in the resource folder. And then in this new menu directory that we've created, menu_main, right? If it was the menu for a different activity, let's say the recycler view activity, I might go menu_recycler view, right? So I know which menu it is. And here I have my items for what I want on that menu. And then each of these items has a variety of attributes. The methods for menu, we know we have onCreateOptions menu, which inflates the menu, it brings it up, right? We have the onOptions item selected method, which then creates the functionality for the buttons on the menu. And then we have the last one, the onClick, right? Instead of creating onOptions item selected, we can instead go onClick and then go create an attribute in the menu XML file, and then make an onClick attribute, and then name the method for the value of that onClick attribute. So here we have share it, right? And then, so rather than putting the code here, we put the code here. Can anyone type to me in the chat? You can type it to me or to everyone, whatever makes you comfortable. What are the options of onOptions item selected? And I'll pause the recording while everyone votes on this or types back to me what this is. Zoom recording. All right, so we are recording again. And so really quick, Chris, I would like you to explain to me, what do you mean by recursion?
I don't know. I just saw there's another default statement to return the super dot option item. So
Okay. When I think of recursions, I'm thinking like data structures and like the foundation of loops, but that's a different topic. Thank you so much for answering though. So here the answer I have, right, is options exactly on the menu bar. And so here, basically, the value or the advantage to using onOptions item selected is that all of the methods for your menu are in one place. It's really just an organizational advantage, right? Because you may have an activity with lots of buttons, right? With lots of functionality, and it becomes very easy to be like, okay, well, which button is with which button goes with which view, or which method goes with which view. But if we have it all here under onOptions item selected, right? We're going, okay, so whichever item is selected from the menu, we can call this method for save or this method for recycle view, and there's only 2 here. So those are only 2 for there. But we'll see. Again, this can come in handy. Actually, I think we'll see this in the example that I have coming up. So hold tight. All right. Please let me know if you have questions about that. Again, the answer just being that it's an organizational advantage. Everything is all in one place and distinguishable from other methods. Don't forget that in your menu bar, in your action bar, you can add this back button, right? By going to the Android manifest, right? And adding this parent activity name attribute to the specific activity, right? So I have my action bar activity and I'm going, all right, I'm gonna label this toolbar test. So now the name of this is toolbar test. And I'm gonna say parent activity name is main activity, meaning that if I hit this back button, it's gonna take me back to the main activity. All right, so I wanna try this discussion question I had just to tie in together card view before jumping into recycler view. And so here we have what views are included in the Instagram card view post. So we have an Instagram view over here. And so I've done 2 pictures of it to show the whole thing, right? So it starts up here and then it goes all the way down until here. And so I wanna know, what are some of the views that are included in this card view, right? As we scroll through our Instagram posts. And if each post had an object called post.java, what are some of the variables you think that that post class would include? All right, and so if we click on this document, everyone should have editing privileges, I believe. And if I go here and I click that, let me add the link to, let's add it to the chat. Voila, and so now it's in the chat. And so essentially, I want you guys to do the best you can. I was gonna put you in groups to work on this. And so I was gonna put you in groups of, I think 3. And so let me do that right now. So many things I can do. Okay, let's stop sharing for a second. Or do I even need to stop sharing? Maybe not. I can just go to breakout rooms. All right. And I'm gonna put you into 4 breakout rooms. I'm gonna create them automatically. I'm going to open the rooms. All right, cool. And so the rooms have been opened up. Melissa, let me make you a co-host. And so you can join the rooms, talk to each other, and then answer the questions based on which room you're in. So if you're in room 1, group 1, 2, group 2. And so I'll give you a couple minutes to work on this, and then we can come back. All right, let's pause the recording.
Most people already went while you were talking.
All right, cool. Cool. All right, I'm looking for this pause.
Uh-oh.
Here we go. Okay, so I have resumed recording. It looks like everybody's slowly coming back to the room. Hopefully that exercise was fun for you guys to work together. Is that Jen? Oh my God. Oh my God, you can make your background. Jen in the background. I was like, what is he doing here? Okay. So what we'll do, let's come on over and let's take a quick look, right? So if I look at Instagram posts, and I'm not sharing my screen. Let's go back to Zoom. Let's go to share. Let's go to Chrome. Let's come over here and I'll leave it here just as this for now. And so if we look at this, right, we can see that this card view, and please let me know if I am like buffering. We have a linear layout, then we have an image view, then we have another linear layout, and then it looks like we have a text view, and another text view. And so this might be, right, so this is all embedded in one vertical linear layout where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 children, right? So we have this linear layout, we have the image view, we have a second horizontal linear layout, and then we have 3 text views. And it looks like this text view also has some image views in it, so it might be something a little bit more complicated, right? In this linear layout, we have a small image view, right? We could call this the profile image view, right? Then we have profile text view, right? With the blue check or not. And then we have a spinner right over here, right? And so for those of us who don't remember Spinner, if we go to Common Android cheat sheet, and my internet is moving a little bit slower. Earlier today, TC was like, clear all your memory on your computer to make up your Zoom session, and it just slowed everything down. But whatever, we are where we are. Everything's fine. Let's go down to Spinner, right, where you can click on something and have options appear down below. So it looks it's stylized a little different, right? But the concept is the same when we look at these three dots over here that you can click to have options come down. Then we have our big image view, right? So we could say like post image view, right? Then we have our like button, our comment button, our send button. Then it looks like we have like a carousel kind of situation to swipe through the pictures, and we have a tag button. Last but not least, we have the likes text view, or like list text view. We have the comment list text view, and then we have the date text view. And so what are some of the variables it would include, right? Well, it's going to have variables for every single one of those views that I mentioned, right? Because we have to remember with the model view controller, right, that the model has to match up with the views. And so we'll have like an image view for the profile, a text view for the profile. We'll have an image view for the post. We'll have a button. I guess we wouldn't need a button for this, but we would need an int for like the number of likes, right? And the number of comments, right? We might even have an array list of comments, and then we'd have a comment class of its own, right? That's probably just like a string, right? So these are just some of the things that we will be including here in this view. If I look over here, it looks like we have some of the right things that we're talking about. Very nice. I could look at this in more detail next time, but hopefully that little synopsis made sense. I see in the chat that people are talking, but I'm gonna assume, I'm not gonna check it unless someone is like—
It's for you.
Oh, it is, okay, all right. Let's go to the
How do
chat.
we make horizontal scroll of the picture happen in Android?
I imagine it would be like a tab view. This is honestly a really complicated tab view because it's like an if else. So it's like if there are multiple images, make it a tab view. And we'll learn a little bit about tab views, which are the ones like the Snapchat where you can like swipe and it goes to a different screen, and you can swipe and it goes to a different screen. And so, yes, I imagine it is a tab view. Great question, very astute observation. All right, let's continue with our presentation. So we have here, and I'll continue to look at the chat. Too many things at once. We have our recycler view review, right? And so this is the best image I can find that kind of talks about what the recycler view is, right? The recycler view, which has its view holder and the adapter. The view holder, right, sends the views to recycler view. It attaches to the card view, right? So the view holder is like the Java version of the card view. The adapter, right, is going to be the object that's going to be adapting the information from the data source into the view holder and then back into the recycler view, right? So it's going to be processing the new data every time you scroll. And then we have the layout manager, which just is like the kind of background code that tells the recycler view how to lay out. So let's go over that in a little more detail. The step for setting up recycler view, we have our 9 steps, excuse me, right here. We import the libraries, and successfully, I have found the right libraries now. So I'm very happy to share that with you guys. It'll be exciting to do. Then we have create a card view, create the Java class, right? Then set up the recycler view XML, right? And so when we talk about the Java class, just now, talking about Instagram, right? We have to create like a post class, right? The thing that's gonna be in the recycler view. Then we're gonna make our array list of posts, so to speak. We attach a recycler view element to the recycler view Java object. We create the view holder, we create the adapter, and then we put it all together. So this is a very, very, I think probably the most complicated thing there is to build in this class. So let's see that in more detail. All right. So first thing we have to do is we're going to update the Gradle. These are not what to type in. It took me a long time to find the right libraries to import. It's on the next slide. And so let's see. I thought I put it right on the next slide. Haha, I did. Okay, I just clicked too fast. And so here it's going to be Android support card view version 7.29 version 7.29 for both the card view and the recycler view. And so that should work. If you are having trouble, again, remember that you have the GitHub link to the source code and you can work from there. What else do we have here? We know the card view. We're going to create the card view. We'll right-click the layout folder, click new, layout resource file, and then we name it card underscore view underscore whatever we're doing. So president or post or I don't know, whatever your object is going to be, right? And we make sure the root view is a card view. And then we're going to use the recycler view in XML. And it's not going to be version 7 widget. It's going to be a different widget. Okay. And what question am I asking you guys? Let's see. What did I ask you guys? Don't forget to make a model class. Oh yeah, to make the model class in the model view controller. Okay. All right. So again, here are the libraries you need to input. And here we have that it's not, again, version 7 of the widget, but it's just Android X.carview.widget.carview. And I have it highlighted up here and down here. And then we have it over here as well, Android X recycler view widget recycler view. And so it's, again, it's Android X version, and I have it highlighted over here. What did I want to share? I wanted to say that in week 8 slides, if I go to week 08, it just was there. Slides. It was just there, and now it just disappeared. Okay, so let's see if I go back. Here we go. Oh, it's W, that's why. If I go to week 8 slides, if you don't want to go to GitHub, if for some reason that's intimidating, if you scroll down to the bottom of this presentation for week 8, last week's presentation, I have the recycler view code all here as well. So it says like recycler view code, and it gives you the main activities, XML, the card view, XML, the main activity, the Java file, the president file, the president adapter file, and the president view holder file. Okay, and then it reviews the steps there. So there are many sources for you to get this code, just so that you know. Okay, let's go back to presenting. And again, so here's the card view. I've crossed out this widget because it's not the correct one. I should cross it out down there too. And then you will load the data to the array list, set up the recycler view in Java using set has fixed size, set layout manager, and then you declare and set the adapter, right? So we have the adapter here, we initialize it, and then we set the adapter, right? So we have our 3 methods. Set has fixed size, set layout manager, set adapter. Then after that, we have to make the view holder and make the adapter. I know, a lot, right? So the the recycler view activity, right? We have our member variables. We have president, adapter, recycler view. We initialize these variables in onCreate. So blump, 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 right there, right? We've initialized our recycler view by find view by ID, and then we set has fixed size and set the layout manager. And then we've initialized the adapter, right? And then we set the adapter to the recycler view. And then last but not least, we have this initial data method, which is for populating the array list, right? So the data that the recycler view is getting the information from. We have view holder, right? Where we have A, we're declaring the member variables for the card views in the context, right? So we have the card view and all the views within that card view. We have the constructor, right? Which then is going to say, okay, well, card view, we have the constructor, which is then going to initialize all of these member variables. And then we have set on click listener saying, hey, if someone clicks this recycler view, what do we want to happen? And it has that all right there. We have the adapter, recycler view adapter, right? I call this here the president adapter. And so it looks like we have the constructor up here taking in the list, right? So the information that's going to be in the recycler view and the context, the activity that recycler view is in. We have the onCreate view holder method, which returns the president view holder. And then we have the onBind view holder, which is then going to bind the information from the card to the holder, like view holder object, right? And so it goes, hey, from the array list, get that president. Okay, that president, get the president's name, set the text of the president name view to be the same as that president's name. So it's getting the data and it's binding it to the view holder, right? And so it's on bind view holder in the adapter. And then last but not least, we have get item count return precedence.size. This just means that, right, the recycler view has a set fixed size, right? It has a certain number of objects coming in and out of it. And so it just wants to know what that is. All right, remember, you can access this code on GitHub, but really quickly, I'm just going to, let me see if I can change what I'm sharing. New share, yeah, to my desktop. Voila, and if I come over here to recycler view, we can see all of this code in context. And so here again is the code that you have available to you on GitHub. We started off again with our main activity where we have our new widget for the recycler view. This widget is can be used because in our Gradle file, Gradle, where are we? There we go. We have our Android.support card view 29.0.0, and then over here, same thing for recycler view. So you can just copy that. If you're having issues changing this, you can go to File, and it's called Project Structure. And in Project Structure, you can change the modules, the SDK. So like if you're operating on 28 and it's not working, you can change this here, and that should make it all make it work better. And if not, you can just let me know and then we can figure out a way to make it work. But again, you just go to File, you go to Project Structure, and then you go to Modules to compile the SDK version that you would like. SDK standing for Software Development Kit. All right, so we talked about the Gradle, we've talked about the main activity. We know that we have our card view as well that we created in our layout file, right? And our card view here has the information for the president photo, president name, and the president info. And so in accordance, we've created a model object called president, right? With these 3 member variables. We have that the photo ID is an int, right? Because we're getting it from the resource folder. And when we grab things from the resource folder, the keys for those are always integers. And so that's why that's why the photo ID is an int as the variable type. We have a constructor, and then we have getters and setters for this class. Okay, in the main activity, again, I've declared these 3 member variables: the array list, which is where we're getting the information for the recycler view; the adapter, which is the object that is going to be adapting the data, right? So that if I have 300 presidents, but my screen only shows 5, my phone isn't loading 100 presidents, right? My phone is only loading 8. And so every time I scroll, it has to update and adapt that load. And so that's what's happening right here. And then we have the recycler view, which is the object that holds it all together, right? And so I said initial data, which was just the data to create my array list with Bill Clinton, George Bush, Barack Obama. I have initialized my recycler view here, find view by ID. Then I am setting has fixed size to true, and then setting the layout manager, right? Last but not least, I have to initialize my president adapter, which I declared up here. And then I'm setting the adapter for my recycler view. So remember that once you've initialized your recycler view, you have those 3 methods. You have to set has fixed size, set layout manager, set adapter, right? Which is why in the slides, I wrote down just that for these 3: set has fixed size, set layout manager, declare, and set adapter. Okay, this is the method for later. Then we have to go and create the president view holder. The view holder, again, is going to be the object version of our card view, right? So because our card view had a name, info, and a photo, that's what we're gonna put into these member variables for this class, right? Then I go here and I say I create my constructor for president view holder, and I initialize these member variables based on the card view over here, right? And so I go item view dot find view by ID dot r dot ID dot person name, right? So these are just the IDs coming from the card view over here. Then I have set an on-click listener within this constructor to go, hey, right? When you click this, give me a toast, right? I say, hey, make a toast with the president's name. So I say president name view dot get text dot toString toast short length, and then show that toast. And then last but not least, I have my getters, right? Because I need to get this information in the adapter, as we'll see in a moment. And so then we go to the adapter. And in the adapter, once more, we have our context, which is going to be the activity, and then the list of presidents, right? Where we're getting the data from for the recycler view. That's what's going to go into the constructor for the president adapter. And then we have our onCreateViewHolder method, which I believe you just can copy and paste. But the key part is to just make sure you have the right card view coming on in. All right, then we go to onBindViewHolder. And this is where we're going to bind the views from the card view to the president view holder, right? So we go, okay, hey, from our array list, get that particular, each president, right? And then, hey, in the holder, get the president name view, set the text to be the president name. Get the president info view, set the text to be the president's info. Get the president's photo view, set the image resource to be the president's photo. And then of course, let's get item count because we have a set fixed size for the recycler view. And so, drum roll, this hopefully will work right now. It worked a moment ago, but Lord knows, these things always glitch up when under the like big circumstances and whatever. So, and voila, it appears. And so if I hit add randomly, it adds a new president each time. And I scroll and I can see these presidents. And then if I click on one of these views, right, I get that from our set on click listener, right? As we talked about before, get the name of the president and have it pop up. So hopefully this was a review. We're gonna see more of this again when we deal with the recycler view with Firebase. So we'll see it again. You know, I love to repeat so that we can make sure everyone understands. But hopefully that was an opportunity to understand this a little bit better. All right, so let me close. Let me terminate that. And let's come back over here. Is Zoom with me? No, now Zoom's in a different place. Okay, let's move. Can everybody hear me? All right, awesome, cool. All right, so let's continue now. I'm still recording, awesome. With sharing my screen. Okay, so we'll go to share. We go to here. So again, all that code is available on GitHub. All right, so add random person method. I have given you the code for how to add a random person. I want you to think about for a moment, if you're watching this again later, how you would verbally explain this method. Pause. Okay, unpause. All right, so what I'm going to say here, right, is that we have this method called add random person. It returns nothing, right? We declare a new president object, right? And we say, okay, int num equals math.random, the method, right? And then I say ×3. I feel like I missed a poll somewhere. Sorry, I'm having a second, I'm like ADD right now. There was a poll I wanted you guys to answer. And I must have just forgotten. My apologies. All right, anyway, so I'm gonna say int num, I'm declaring this num integer, and I'm going to go math.random ×3, right? So we know that the math.random method is gonna return a double, right? Somewhere between 0 and 1. So like 0.1 or 0.569 or point blah, 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 whatever, right? But if we're casting that into an int, we're saying, hey, whatever you get from this, make it an integer, right? So math.random ×3 is gonna give me a number between 0 and 2.9999999, right? And so we know that if we get a double, right, and you cast it into an int, it's just gonna shave off all the numbers behind the decimal, right? So if I get 0.5899999, it's just gonna be 0. If I get 1.24 blah, 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 it's just gonna be 1. And if I get 2 point something, 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 it's just going to be 2, right? So this method here is saying, hey, give me a number that's 0, 1, or 2. Then I go, okay, if the number is 0, this new president I've declared, initialize it to be Bill Clinton, right? Just put a constructor right there. If the number is 1, initialize it to be George Bush. If the number is anything else, which is gonna be 2, right? Make it Barack Obama. And then I go, okay, well now to my array list, right? That array list that I declared at the top of my recycler view. So if I come back over here, this is taken, it's quick, okay, cool. I click here, right? This, again, array list that I keep coming back to, right? That the adapter is constantly changing or like taking information from, right? I'm saying, hey, add the presidents, add this new pres to my array list, and then, hey, recycler view, reset the adapter, right? Set the adapter so that the adapter knows, hey, the number of people has changed, right? And so that is how you would do that right there. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. I see there might be a question. Directly random get president. Directly add president. Like you don't need to, I'll talk to you about that in a moment, Chris, because I'm a little bit confused, but I like your thinking. You always have a more efficient way to code, and I appreciate that. Let's see. Workshop time. Okay, so no. So we're gonna skip workshop time and we're gonna jump to the Firebase real-time database. Does anybody need a break? You can raise your hand if you need a break. Let me stop the sharing. There's a button at the bottom of the screen in the chat window, I believe, that says raise hand.
It's in participants.
And participants, excuse me. Thank you, Melissa. And so in participants at the bottom of the screen, there should be a thing that says raise hand. So if you want to take a break, okay, yes, I see some people want to take a break. So let's just take like a 2-minute break because I need to get some water too. And then we'll come back, okay? All right, let me pause the recording. Okay, so we are back. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. And we're gonna look at real-time database from Firebase, all right? So what is Firebase? All right, let me change my share to optimize for video. Okay, maybe you may not be able to hear me, but we're gonna play this video and then, yeah, all right, so let's see. So I'm going to say share. Oh, it's asking for my password. Okay. Oh, I'm on so many computers. Let me
Developing a successful app isn't easy. To reach a broad audience, you'll need to consider your iOS, Android, and mobile web users. And to build for these platforms, you'll need a backend server to store data and support the apps. Of course, you want to get your users logged in, hopefully lots of users, which means your backend will have to scale. Then after you've solved your scaling problems, you'll have to find more ways to spread the word to get new users. But have you found a way to measure all this activity? And oh no, your app is crashing and causing servers to melt down, and you haven't even made a dime yet. Don't you wish this could be easier? This is why we built Firebase. It has all the tools you need to build a successful app. It helps you reach new users, keep them engaged, scale up to meet that demand, in addition to getting paid. So let Firebase handle the details of your app's backend infrastructure, user engagement, and monetization, while you spend more time building the apps your users will love. To manage and monitor your apps connected to Firebase, there's a web console to view crashes, set up experiments, track analytics, and a whole lot more.
Okay. Can you guys hear me again? Oh, the video's playing. Okay, it's playing again. Okay. All right, so that's an overview of Firebase. And it has many different features, as you can see. Let's go back to sharing my slides. And it was acquired by Google in 2014. So it's their like kind of backend database. And so while it has all of these many things we can do, we're going to be dealing with the real-time database. And so what I want you all to do right now is to create a link. And so you know what? Usually I'd have everybody create their own link, and you can do that if you would like. But I understand that it's difficult to share a screen and do your screen. So you can always do this at the end of class or later when you're watching this video. But essentially, this should take you to a sign-in page. And then after you sign in, you should see something like this, which will be your console. You won't have any projects yet, right? But there will be something for adding a project, but you don't have to worry about that because Android Studio is going to do it all for us super easily. All right, so some of you might be asking, wait, what? Oh, wait, let me get the full effect of this. Am I? Yes. Wait, what is a real-time database, huh? And so we will see that a real-time database is a database system that uses real-time to handle things, right? So basically when something happens on a person's phone, it uploads to the database immediately and happens everywhere else, right? So you guys know my favorite app of the moment, Instagram, right? If I post to Instagram, it's not gonna take a day for everybody else to see it, right? I post and everyone who follows me can see it immediately because it's a real-time database. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna change, not stop sharing, but change share back to my optimized for video clip, share. And if I come back over here, we'll see about the real-time database. This is the file to the video.
When you're building an app that needs to store and share data from a server, there are a lot of things that you'll need to keep in mind. Setting up and maintaining a database can be a hassle. And if you want your data synchronized in real time or need offline support, well, now you're talking some serious time commitment. But with the Firebase real-time database, you can get that time back. The Firebase real-time database lets you store and sync data between your users in real time. This makes it easy for your users to access their data from any device, web or mobile, and it helps your users collaborate with one another. Whenever you update data in the real-time database, it stores the data in the cloud and simultaneously notifies all interested devices in milliseconds. The real-time database is also optimized for offline use. Whenever a user loses their connection, the database SDK uses a local cache on the device to serve and store changes. This means that when the user comes back online, their local data is automatically synchronized. And how do you keep your data secure? You can use database security rules to specify who has access to what pieces of data and how your database should be structured. The security rules are securely stored with the real-time database on our servers. So if you want to make sure your users can only access their own data or ensure that their message is no more than 141 characters, you can do that in just a few lines of code. Getting started only takes a few minutes. The Firebase real-time database is hosted for you in the cloud, so there's no server maintenance or operations. And there are SDKs for Android, iOS, and JavaScript. To get started with the real-time database, check out our quick start, which will get you up and running in minutes. We can't wait to see what you'll build with Firebase.
All right, so that was a nice little advertisement, but hopefully it helps that. Let me go back. Where is Zoom? Zoom, where are you? Okay, there we go. Yes, so hopefully that makes Firebase a little bit more clear what we're gonna be working with. And so you guys should see that in a moment. We're working with that in a moment, okay. And so what I wanted to do right now was, let's close this and close that and share my screen. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll go back to the slides. Okay, there we go. All right. Okay, so as you guys know, I love to have the steps so that you guys know what we're going to be going through, right? We're going to be connecting our app to Firebase. Then we're going to add the real-time database libraries and dependencies, the build.gradle file, the dreaded build.gradle. Then we have to configure the rules for our own database. And we're going to see that I have some examples for that, but Android Studio has updated and made it even easier. And then we're going to write to the database and read from the database, okay? And so the tip I have that we're all going to use today is we're going to use the Firebase Assistant in Android Studio. Okay, so Firebase Assistant in Android Studio. We go to Firebase, Tools in Firebase. Sorry, we go to Tools, we go to Firebase, and this is going to be the best. I'm going to walk you through why right now. So let's share a different screen, new share, my desktop. And I'm going to come on over here. I'm going to close this out, and I'm going to create a new project. Empty activity, wonderful. And I'm going to say Firebase class demo 2020. And then we go to finish. Everything is good, yes. All right, awesome. And so if I come on over to I have my main activity. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what we're gonna do, I'm waiting for the Gradle build model to finish, waiting for my whole project to build up and be ready to go. And then we're going to do just that. We're gonna do what the slides say, which is to use the Firebase Assistant. Still scanning. I think it's ready. Okay, it's ready. So up here, I have this tools. And from tools, I go to Firebase. And Firebase Assistant is going to appear on the right. And so all the different things that Firebase can do will appear, but of course we're looking for real-time database, right? So I scroll up, I see real-time database, I click that, and I hit, yep, save and retrieve data. That's what I want to do. And then it gives me simple steps for how to do this. So this is really wonderful, right? I go connect to Firebase, and it's going to open up the profile that you've already created, right? And so now I've connected to Firebase. Welcome to Firebase. To connect your app, choose an existing project or create a new one, right? And so I wonder if I can just, I'm going to create a new one just so that we're all like on the same page. So I'm going to call this Firebase Class Demo 2020. That sounds like a good name, yes. I go to continue. And this is just Google saying, hey, you know, we might use some of your data. Usually I would be more wary about like reading through this, but this is just for a quick class assignment. So not really stressing. I'm going to accept the measures and accept Google Analytics terms. I'm going to create my project. Boop, 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 boop. It's going to take a moment for it to load up. And then once we have that, it was as easy as that to connect our Android Studio or our project to Firebase. So again, this is why I love Android Studio and smart integrated development environments, right? Because sometimes they'll just handle a lot of the back-end stuff for you. They go, hey, just click this, boom. You can't even mess it up. Not like with me in RecyclerView, as you guys saw earlier last week. All right, so we're continuing to go. All right, okay. I can hit continue. And now my project's here, voila, and it takes me to my project. It's like, welcome to your project. We're connecting your project. Yes, if it's ready, connect to your Android Studio project. So I go ready, and I hit connect. And now it's connected. Your Android Studio is connected to your Firebase Android app. Yeah, woohoo, you can go back to your project. And so now, if I go back to my project over here, let me minimize this, right? It says connected. Cool. All right. Essentially, we're just gonna follow through these steps, right? So it says, let me go to my slides to make sure that I'm doing the right stuff, that everything's consistent. So it makes steps 1 and 2 much easier, right? It used to do this thing where it told you what it was adding, but now it doesn't even do that. It just kind of does it for you. And so let's see, if I come over to add real-time database, oh, it does tell me, okay, my bad. And I go, okay, on the project level, I'm adding this Google Services to the project Gradle, and then to the app Gradle where we're familiar, where we added our dependencies for the RecyclerView, it's gonna add that Google Services, and it's also gonna add the appropriate library for Firebase database. And I'm gonna accept those changes, and it does it for me automatically. Again, I don't have to do it. It does it on its own. Thank God for the Firebase Assistant. Okay. Dependencies set up correctly. Boom, awesome. Now it says configure your rules. Now, depending upon what version of Android Studio you guys have, I don't know if this is going to be the same, just because I just updated my Android Studio. And so it tells you about the things you can do to configure the rules, and basically determining who can write to your database, right? And so because this is a new database that we just want to test, we want anybody to be able to write. We don't want people to have to log in because we don't have users yet and we don't have a login page yet. So I'm gonna go, to get started without setting up authentication, you can configure your rules for public access. And so if I click that and I go configure my rules for public access, a link will open up with the sample rules, right? And so this is the default where it's like, don't allow anyone to read or write to access your database, right? And so I'm gonna go to public, which allows anybody to read and write to my database. So I'm just gonna copy, let's see, I'm gonna copy that. Where are you? Copy, there we go. I'm going to copy this. And I'm gonna change it in my rules. Now, weirdly enough, I thought it did it for you. It did earlier, but it's always issues, you know. Okay, so I'm gonna now go to my database, which was, let's see, this is the local thing. X out of this. Go to console. So right here, this is where all of your projects live, in your console. So I'm gonna click go to console. I'm gonna go to my Firebase Class Demo 2020 that I just created. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go to database, right? Because this is the real-time database we're working with. And I'm not going to create Firestore. Firestore is like their like new awesome database that I'm not very familiar with. I'm just going to create a real-time database. So I'm going to go create database, just create real one. And this is where I thought it was, right? So it's to start in lock mode or start in test mode. So notice what I just copied and pasted is the same as thing, right? If it's in lock mode, right? Can you read? False, can't read. Can you write? False, can't write. But if it's in test mode, can you read? True, yes, you can write. Can you write? Yes, true, you can write. So I'm going to say, and it tells you anyone with your database reference will be able to read and write to your database. Awesome, I'm gonna enable that. Awesome, and so my database is loading up. There's nothing in here because I haven't saved anything yet. But if I go to my rules, I see that read, yep, true. Right, yes, true. And if I wanted to change this, I would change it right here. And I'll talk a little bit about that next class when we deal with logging in. Let's just pause so far, stop share. Any questions yet? And remember, you guys can talk in the chat to talk to each other like, I'm so confused, or like, he's talking so fast, or whatever. And yeah, does anybody have any questions? Please raise your hand. No? I can continue? I'll just continue? Okay, all right. I will go back to share my desktop. Okay. So, now I've configured my rules. Now we move to the fun stuff, step 4 and 5. So we just reviewed step 1, 2, and 3, which was connect to the app, add the database libraries and dependencies, and then configure your rules. All very easily done with our Firebase assistant. Now we're gonna write to our database, right? So if I scroll over here, so read and write to the database. We're gonna see the details in the slides to come. Really quick, just kind of theory of understanding the objects that we're using. So notice over here, we have Firebase database.java, right? This is going to be the object that's the entry access point for your database, right? You can get an instance of a Firebase by calling this method getInstance, right? To access a specific location in your database, we're going to use getReference, right? So we're going to see getInstance and getReference are two important things, right? Database reference.java is going to be a specific reference point within your database. And so documentation for these two objects are in the links right here for you to explore, but we're going to see a little bit of it right now. The Firebase methods, we're going to see set value. It's going to set the value in the database. We're going to see push, and we're going to see child. Again, I'm going to go over these in more detail in a moment, but I just wanted to give you familiar with the methods, the most important methods for the database reference object or class. Then we're going to see for reading, right? So this is for writing to the database. For reading to the database, we're going to see add value event listener is going to be a very important method. And then as we know, when we add event listeners, we create these anonymous classes, right? Where we have new value event listener, where we have to implement these methods. And the two methods we'll have to implement are going to be on data change and on canceled. All right, so let's take our starter database code. And so I'm going to just take this start code right here. So I'm going to, I have to escape from here. And I'm just going to take this, okay, and I'm just going to copy and paste this here. So I'm going to come copy this, and I'm going to come up here in my main activity. And so let's make this as big as I can. This little button right here is just going to minimize my assistant. If I want the assistant back, I click assistant. I'm here. I'm gone. Okay, so I'm going to paste this code here. And it looks like it's cool declaring the base up here. It's cool getting the reference, but set value isn't working. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this into onCreate. And so when my app is created, now set value can work, right? And so I'm going to just run this app to show you what happens. So let's look at my database. It has nothing in it right now, right? Now, when I say, hey, when you create this app, when this app starts running, before you don't even have to click anything. On create, I want you to get my reference, right, which is the database reference. And I want you to set a value to this, right? So, sorry, let's go over each step. I declare a Firebase database, right? I name it database. And I go Firebase database.getInstance, right? So it gives me an instance of the database. Nice. So now I have my database in it here. Then I say private database reference, my ref just being short for reference, right? So my ref, and I go, hey, from this database, get a specific reference called message. That's going to be very important. So keep this word in your mind, message. Then in onCreate, for my reference, for this database reference I've created, I'm going to say, hey, set the value to, this is a string we are storing in the database. All right. So again, right now, I have nothing in here, right? But if I run this code, it's going to take a moment because it's the first time the app is running. We're going to see how the database changes. I imagine this is taking a while because I'm video chatting and connecting my app to the database and running my emulator on for the first time. But voila, the app is running, Fireclays Demo 2020. And so now, for the moment of truth, voila, in my database, I see that I have this message reference, right? And then the value that we're setting is going to be, this is the string we are storing in the database. All right, so I've just done that, right? Let's do something else. Okay, so now I'm gonna come over here and I'm going to set a new value, right? So if I go myref set value to, in the database again, right? And I run this code, so I'm going to stop it and then run it. It should be faster this time. It's run again. And so now it's been updated to include this again, right? So it's all being set to this message key over here. If I change this to make it a different message, to make it a different path, right? If I say message 2, right? And now I run this code. Hopefully you can try to make a prediction about what will happen, right? If I were taking this class for the first time, I imagine message will be replaced with message 2, and the set value would remain the same. But let's see, it's still installing, taking a while. Patience is a virtue. While I wait for it to load, does anybody have any pressing questions? Okay, all right, maybe not. Cool. And so now the app is running correctly, but oh snap, what happened? Now I have message and message 2. So I've created a new reference, right? And so now I can store something new in that reference. So before, when I went to the same references before, it just overrode, right? It went, let me overwrite what was here before and add something new. But then when I add a new reference, it can store another reference in there. Very cool. Okay, let's discuss this a little bit more. Okay, if I go to my slides, before I go on to discuss this, I have my first poll of the day. So I guess I'll continue to share and I'll go to polling, and I want to ask my Firebase methods polling. It's just one question. I'm gonna launch this poll. So the poll asks, which method is a static method? Get instance, get reference, or set value? So looking at this code over here, right? Which method is a static method? This is also a way for me to see who's still here with me. All right, about 7 people. Okay, 8 people have voted. It's been 45 seconds. I'll give it another 10, and then we will reveal the results. Got some chat. Yes, Chris, it does support different data types other than string, and we'll see in a moment. Yes. All right, so let's stop this poll. We'll end the poll, and I'm going to share the results. All right, and so some of you were right up here with get instance as the static method, right? So remember that static methods are methods that aren't called on by a specific object, but by the class itself, right? And so I'm going to stop sharing this. Gotta go over here. If we look at this code over here, right, we have Firebase database, right, is equal to what? Not new Firebase database. It's not a constructor, right? We're just going, hey, Firebase database, this class, we're saying dot get instance. And it's also italicized, right? So that's another little hint that it is a static method, right? But because this is not being called on by a specific object, it's being called on by this class, it is going to be a static method. We see here, get reference is being called by database. What kind of an object is database? Database is a Firebase database object, right? It's a specific, it's a variable, right? That we're storing this Firebase database in, and then we're calling the method on this particular variable. Same thing here with my reference, right? My reference we've declared, and now we're calling this method on the specific object, right? And so that's why this is going to be a static method, and these two over here are not static methods, just normal methods. Okay, let's continue with saving data. So we've seen a little bit about how to save data, right? So each time you save a new reference or a new key or a new ID, same names for the same different names for the same thing, it creates a new one in the database, right? So they're just like message versus message two, right? And so that's what we just saw in the message versus message two that I created a moment ago. What does the code look like to save new references in a database? Well, we know, right, that code is going to use, right, this myref.setValue, right? So whatever your reference is set to, right, you say get reference, right? You name your ID or the reference that you want it to have, and then you set the value with this method over here, right? With the set value method, and we put it in there. Let's say instead of saving strings, or let's say instead of saving something to the key directly, let's say we wanted to save it underneath something else, right? So let's say I have a thing right here, and let me make this bigger so it's easier to see. Let's say I wanted an ID or a key or a reference called messages, right? And then I wanted to have other messages in here. I wanted to have a child in here, right? So all the strings are saved under one reference, messages, right? Each string underneath is a child of the bigger messages reference. And so we have that right here. How do we do that? Well, what we're going to do, I have a lot of stuff going on over here, is we're going to, the code that's highlighted, say, all right, my database.get reference, right? Database.get reference messages, right? My child ref, whatever you want. This is cool because keys can't. Okay, so let's talk about that in a moment. I'm trying to think about the best way to demo this because normally I would walk around the class, but I'm confused. Okay, all right. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to come over here to my code. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, all right, now that I have that already set up, I'm going to go my ref, which is this object, and I'm going to change I'm going to change the reference. I'm going to say my ref equals database, right, that I've declared as a member variable, dot get reference, and I'm going to say messages, right? So all of my messages are going to appear under this one, right? Then I'm going to say, all right, my ref, now that my ref is messages, I'm going to say dot child, and I'm going to call this child my ID, my ID. And let me remember, does child have two? It's a path, and I'm going to say, I put in here what I would like. I'm trying to remember if this is the correct way to do this. What am I missing? I need a database string can't be applied to string.java, blah, 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 blah. String, Okay, I'm confused. I need to remember how this works. My ID. So my reference set my ID. Oh yes, okay. So I set the new ID and then I call it dot, and I have to call this method dot get reference dot set value. Yes, and so then I go my ref child, MID, and is it dot set value? Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go through these slides and then I'm gonna go through the demo because I'm confusing myself right now. Okay, in the slides over here, it says my reference is Firebase .get instance .get reference, right? I'm just putting that all into here called message, which is this here. And then I go my reference .set value, hello value. So that's the hello value. Over here, I'm saying messages is going to be the reference. Okay, cool. And then I'm going to say my ref .child message one. Okay, I was close. .set value is this is the first child. Okay, so now I'm going to do that in the demo. And so I'm going to go my child .set value, and I'm going to set this value to be I love OOP. All right, cool. And so just so that we can make sense of this, currently in the database, so many things. Voila. Okay, in the database, we have message and message two, right? We have these keys that have values directly attached to them. Now we're going to create children, right? And so I want to create a child from my messages ID. That child is going to be called my ID, and the value for that is going to be I love OOP. And so if I run this code, aha, messages has appeared right over here. When I hit plus, I get that my ID is I love OOP. Very nice. And so now I can have children underneath this messages ID. So I can have a bunch of data stored here, and then, or I can store data just one thing at a time. And so that is what this slide right here is trying to communicate. The difference between adding data versus adding data to a list. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add some objects in Firebase, and then hopefully this will all make sense. All right, so we have this person class, and I'm just gonna copy really quick, Control C. I'm gonna come into my Java, I'm gonna say new Java class, person. Okay, have my person class, cool, I've added that. I wanna add a person to the database. So rather than making this an on-click method right now, I don't have time to make a button, I'm just going to add it into the code on create. So I have a new person reference, right? So I have a person reference I'm creating. So I'm going to say database reference, person reference, equals, database person reference equals, and I'm gonna say person database dot get reference, and I'm gonna name this reference people, right? People. And so in this reference now, Command Option L, get this to line up. So I've created a new reference called person reference. It's in the same database that I've declared originally, right? But it has a new reference called people. And so I'm gonna say person ref dot set value to new person name Nigel 35 alive true, right? And so if I run this code now, let's rerun this. It should be building, it's connecting. It seems like it takes a little bit longer every time it creates a new reference. And so we're gonna give it a moment. I did, okay. And then, no, where is my, oh, here we are. Voila. And so now I have people, and underneath people, I've saved an object, okay? So notice here, it's not just a thing with one string, right? We have age, we have alive, we have name. So we've saved our object into the database, right? But now this thing is all saved into this one thing called people, right? But I want to be able to put multiple people in here. So we'll see about how to do that in a moment. All right. So again, we saved that in here as person. Should have saved it as person. Okay. Let's say now that I want to add these people, add this now as a person to a list of people, right? I can use child now to do that. And so I'm going to come over here. I'm just going to copy this last line of code with child. Actually, I'll copy both of these, push and child. So I'm going to copy these lines of code, and I'm going to bring it down into here. And I said people ref. I'm going to just rename this person ref and person ref. Cool. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm saying person ref dot push. This is a method we have not seen yet. I'm going to say set value to new person constructor, calling constructor Mike 22 true, right? Then I go person reference child, right? We know this one. I name the ID, set value to new person, and I say Beyonce, and my new person is a constructor. Okay, let's rerun this app and let's see how our database changes. I wonder if it'll just change even if we're not watching it. We'll see it change live. Come on. It'll be pretty cool. We'll just wait for a second. So right now, the only references we have are messages. Voila. So it's all changed, right? Notice it all changed within people. And so I still have my original person that I added down here, right? Then I named the ID for Beyonce with my child. And then I have a random ID that was created for Mike, who I talked about, right? And so if I look at my slides, we can see something similar here, right? That it saves to a list, right? So I saved a different reference called people. And when you use push, it saves it with a random ID, as opposed to when you use child, it saves it with an ID that you name, all right? So for, again, child versus push, right? If I go people ref dot child, I name the ID, you set the value to the person that you've created, right? P being the variable. If I said person P equals, and I did that, I could save the person there, right? If I use push, right, it'll set the value to, again, person, but it's gonna save the value under a random, the ID is gonna be a random string of letters, right? So let me just poll everybody to see if I've not put everyone to sleep right now. If I come over here, now, what's happening? Wait, no, wait, cancel. Where is Zoom? Oh, it's already here. Okay, there we go. If I go to poll, I come down to children methods. Okay, I'm gonna launch a poll really quickly. And so which method will give the database a random ID for the new value? Child or push? All right, I'm gonna give it another 5 seconds. Most people have voted. There are 2 people who may be out at the bathroom or getting a snack, or maybe they just don't know. So I will end the poll now, and I will share the results, right? And so you guys are absolutely correct, push. So yeah, thank you guys for staying with me. I know these are long lectures, but yes, it is going to be push to get a random name. All right, let's read from the database now. And so we're gonna do this now to make this make a little bit more sense. So we're gonna build this, if we had class, basically what we're gonna build right now is going to be your in-class 8 assignment. And so by the end of this class, you will have the answer for in-class assignment 8, so that works out. So here is our new main activity. And so I'm gonna come in here. What I'm actually gonna do to prevent myself from making a mistake is I'm just gonna grab this on the inside of the parent view, and I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna put it all in here. It's a Command Option L to make it nice and neat. It looks like has no constraint, which is fine because I'm going to change this constraint layout to be a linear layout. So linear layout, voila, everything disappears. Looks like my on-click methods are not created yet, so that's giving me issues, but we'll do that in a moment. And so we're going to implement this code, right? So here's our starter code for how to read from the database, right? So we have our starter code for how to write to the database up here, where it's, again, you declare your database, you get the instance of it, you declare your database reference, and you name it very specifically, because that's going to be the ID that you go to, and then we're going to set the value for that. That's like the easy way to write to the database, right? So read from the database, we have, again, that we have to get our, we have to get the reference, right? Where are we going to be reading from? And then we're going to add a value event listener. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to copy this code. And we'll make sense of it together over here. So far, from this, where's my preview button? There used to be a preview over here to preview this, but if I just click this, it's not previewing very well for me right now. Not looking very up. It's because it's a horizontal. Nice. So let's change this layout to be vertical. So orientation, vertical. Forgot to do that. All right. Now if I go to my view, now I get something that's looking like what I think it should be. Very nice. Where I have my key, type key, value, and then we have our write to cloud, read from cloud button. Nice. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is for the read from cloud method, I'm going to hit Option Enter, and it's going to say create a read from cloud method. So it did that for me, and I'll do the same thing for the other one, for the other write to cloud. I'm going to click here. I'm going to say Option Enter, and so I can say create on click handler, but it should do it in on create. Yes, in main activity. Okay, cool. Let me choose. Cool. And so I'm going to copy and paste the code for reading into read from the cloud. Awesome. All right. So right now it's going, hey, man, who's the key field? That's the edit text that I had to declare. So that's what I will do up here. Let's see. Do I have that code? Did I leave it here? I really made this as difficult for me as I possibly could. All right. Cool. Let's go to over here. I gave it an ID. So we'll declare that edit text. We have a key text and we're okay. Getting dark now. So sad. Okay. Up here, I'm going to declare my edit text, right? So I have edit text, and looks like my first edit text. So I have a text view and an edit text. So it's going to be the key edit text and then the value edit text. All right. So let's go there. So I have key edit text. And then I'm going to say value edit text. I'm going to paste this. I'm going to say text view. I'm going to say key text view. Copy that. And then no. And then I'm going to say call this one the value text view. Okay, cool. Now you guys should all know, right? Anytime we declare our variables, we should then initialize them. And so I have to do that with each of these. Oh, I don't want to do this right now, but okay. Let's see, key edit text equals find view by ID r.id dot, and if I've named my key text views correctly, this should not be difficult. It should be key edit text field. Nice. Excellent. And I'm just gonna paste these and name them differently, each one. So then I have my key, not edit text, but my key text view. No. Sorry. It needs to be my value edit text. So value edit text. And I'm going to change this ID to be key dot key. Nope. Do I not have a thing for value edit text? Let's take a look. In the main activity, XML, value edit text field. Okay. And so I go value edit text field. Nice. And then for my key text view, I make this my value text view. I don't think we're not going to be changing these, so I don't even think I need these. So I'm just going to comment that out for now. Okay. All right. So now I've declared those two. And so if I come down here, it says key field. I'll rename key field to be called key edit text. So key edit text. All right. So what's happening in this code? I'm saying, hey, man, whatever key you type in to here, my reference database dot get reference key edit text dot get text dot toString. I'm saying, hey, that's the reference I want to have. So whatever you typed into the app, I want you to get that. So let's run this app a little bit to see what is gonna happen. Hopefully it doesn't crash. And I'm gonna quickly turn on a light while the app is building. So 1 second. Okay, it's building still. I guess while it builds, I can go through what this read from cloud does. So again, we're getting the reference from my ref. We're changing that reference to whatever we typed into the edit text value, right? And then we're going, hey, for that reference, add a value event listener, right? Which is going to create this anonymous class with this on data changed, right? And so I'm going to say, okay, data snapshot, which is this method it's given to us automatically, right? And I'm going to implement this, right? So I'm going to say string is the kind of data I want to get. I'm going to say loaded data is going to be equal to data snapshot.get value from the string kind of class. If there's an error, just cancel and say there's an error loading from Firebase. Just like toast to us if there's some kind of an issue. Right? If I load that, while this is loading, right, we see that this loaded data is not being used. It's grayed out, right? And so that means that like when I get this information, where do I want it to go? Oh, I'm gonna want it to go to the edit text that's below, right, for the value. So I'm gonna code now to value edit text dot set text to loaded data. And this is still installing. Okay. And this lighting is not doing the best for me right now, but it's okay. I wonder if
You need like a desk lamp
yeah, and
on your face.
I know, yeah. In the daytime, my window does a decent job. Maybe the light with the window. Yeah.
There you go.
There we go.
There you are.
All right, there we are. Guess I staring at screens all day. Okay. Whew, this is really taking a while to build, which I understand, but I think it's just because my computer is doing a lot right now. Let's see if there's anything in the slides I can go over. Okay. So essentially what we want to do is I'm going to create an app that looks like this. And you're going to type in the key right here for whichever you want to save to. And then you're going to type in the value there, right? And you can write it to the cloud. Type in a key, type in a value, you write it to the cloud. Then if I type in an old key from before, I can read from the cloud. And then the information that this key is holding, right, is going to appear down here in the value portion. And so it looks like here I have given you guys some good code for how you do this, right? Where again, let's see, did it load? Yeah, it loaded. Okay, well, Pixel is not Pixel Launcher is not responding. That's a new one. Let's see what's happening. Class not found exception. Oh, I hate this. The unhandled key listener. Okay, so we have a key listener event that's not being handled. That I should have to review through, and then when we go here, it's not able to recognize. Okay, let's see. No class def found. Okay. So what I'm going to do is pause this and take a quick look at what happened. And so I'm saying reference get from here. So it's saying to get the database reference from here, but I wouldn't use that until I called on it. So it shouldn't be an issue, but of course it is. Okay. What I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna walk us through this, and then if I need to, next class, I will talk about everything that I messed up today. So what we'll do is for the write to cloud method, right? We're just gonna take my reference, database.get reference, and say, hey, key field get text at toString, set value to just that. And so if I come over here in the write to cloud button, I get my thing here. And so rather than key field, I think I call this key edit text. And then I call this value edit text. Nope, value edit text, not view. Okay, and so what I'm gonna do to my database is it might be confused because I have things that aren't just strings in my database. So I'm just gonna hit X. It's an easy way to delete things in the database. And I'm gonna just hit X for people to delete all the things underneath people. And then we'll see if my database can read these, because now it's just strings. So it's going, okay, maybe I'll be able to read now. And so if I run it again, it's installing. This is taking so long, or perhaps my patience is just shortening as the sun sets and the day comes to an end. All right. As it installs, I'll come back over to the slides and try to walk us through this code. So again, the write to cloud is saying, hey, whatever was in the key field, right? Make that the reference that my ref is, and then set the value for that to be whatever's in the value field. Then for read from the cloud, it's saying add the value event listener, and when the data changes on the inside, load that data into this string, right? And that's all we have for so far. So here I said more code needed, but I think if we go to the next slide, I changed it where I go, okay, the value field to set text, loaded data. So whatever we load, set the value down there to be. And so, has my app installed yet? Oh, maybe it has. Oh, it's not. What is this? What is this? Okay. Same thing. Didn't find class on handle except blah 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 blah. All right. Well, I may need to look into this, and we have 3 minutes left in class. So let me just walk you through how this should have worked. But yeah. Okay, my chat. Okay, we'll go through this next class because apparently I've lost myself. But the idea was to be able to type in your key here, type in your value, write to the cloud, type in your key, read from the cloud, and it would bring the value into here. And so there is a video of that in the in-class assignment, which I will extend the due date because I'm not getting this right. I wanted us all to write down a little bit about what we learned today, but we have 3 minutes left in class. So I'll just talk instead about not coming soon, we'll be learning about how to remove things from Firebase, not necessarily in the console like I did, Xing things out, but like how to use the methods to remove things from Firebase. We'll learn about how to connect Recycler View to Firebase, and then we're going to learn about logging in and signing up, authentication for our apps. Here we have our assignments. We have in-class assignment 8, which is what I tried to build today, but I'm struggling, always forever struggling. And then we have take-home lesson 8, which is a very short weekend tutorial in like Firebase. And Firebase is always updating. And so this is called Firebase in a weekend, and it has you build a project. You can just create a project start to finish using the Firebase web app, right? And then you can troubleshoot older versions of Firebase to check concept understanding, right? Here are some more videos about how to save to Firebase and load objects to Firebase. Yes, those are videos for the future. So if you are like bored and you want to learn more, that's there for you, but it's optional. But here is the assignment. If you click on this over here, it takes you to the Firebase in a weekend. And I suggest doing it in the 3-day format they have you do it, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, but perhaps maybe not. I mean, you can do it Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or you can do it whatever, but just do it. Dedicate 3 days to it. That's how long it should take, and you should be okay. And so I will post that to Classroom, and I gave no time to work today. I don't know how I got through this stuff in person and gave time for it, but apparently not today. So it's okay. Sorry, I sent the whole
I think, Nigel, I think this is what happened in our class too.
You know, I'm always just like, I'm gonna give people time to work on their projects, but that does not happen. Well, luckily we have like 2 to 3 more lessons of like me having to show you guys things. And then after that, it's like, you guys can do things on your own. So I promise I'll give you time to work on your project in class, but unfortunately it wasn't today. Thank you so much for coming, and I will see you all next week. Let me stop recording. I'm recording. Okay, everybody. So I made a mistake in the sense that I didn't actually make a mistake. So if I stop, basically the app, the Pixel launcher wasn't working, but the app was working. And so it was fine, whatever. And so if I type in a new key here, let's say I type in key 1, and I go, I will type everything into here, right? I can come down and I can write this to the cloud. And if I come to my cloud, key 1, I will type everything, awesome. If I say key 2, I can go and type in something about Beyonce. I'll just say Beyonce. And I can come down and I write to the cloud. And so now, Beyonce, key 2. If I come back up here and I type in key 1, and I say read from cloud, I will type everything comes up. If I come up and type 2 and read from the cloud, Beyonce comes up. If I go back to type in message, and I go read from cloud, nice, the thing that I typed in before, message 2. Let's see what happens. Nothing comes from the message 2, but message 3 has something. This works great. Message 2, as I wrote over here, comes up again. And if I come back again and I write key 1, read from cloud, it'll have everything come up. So that was what we were building, and it works just fine. And so the code works. All right, cool. Let's stop sharing and let's snap.